today we will study about Introduction to Computer Systems and Computing. This is a topic of class 11th Informatic Practices. In this chapter, we will study about what is a computer and why we need a computer and what the computer consists of. Computer is an advanced electronic device that takes raw data as input from the user and processes these data under the control of a set of instructions called program and gives the result, which is also known as the output, and saves the output for the future use. Computer is a combination of hardware and software. So basically computer is made up of what? It is made up of hardware and software which integrates together and provides various functionalities to the user. So what is hardware? These are the physical components which we can see, which we can touch, like for example we have processor, memory devices, monitor, keyboard, etc. But what is software basically? Software is a set of programs or the instructions that are required by the hardware resources to perform various operations as per the requirements of the user. Now in the introduction of a computer system, here we can see the computer. Computer have what? It have speaker, it have system unit, it have screen. What is a screen? Screen is a monitor, and we have speakers, microphone, mouse, keyboard. So this is how a computer looks like. Now we will study about evolution of computing devices. Here we have various types of generations of computers. We have basically 5 generations, and the 5th generation is coming generation. So now let's study about first generation computers, and first generation computers were from 1940 to 1956. It means that the computers which were invented during the year 1940 to 1956, these are known as first generation computers. The first generation computers, they used vacuum tubes and machine language, and it was used for giving the instructions. These computers were very large in size, and their programming was really very difficult task. Electricity consumption जो थी, it was very high. These examples are ENIAC, ADVAC, EDSEC, UNIVAC. In this generation, mainly batch processing operating system was used. Like we had punch cards, we had paper tape, we had magnetic tape. They were used as input and output devices. The computers in this generation used machine code as the programming language. Now let's move on further. Now we will study about the second generation computers, and these computers range from the year 1956 to 1963. In second generation computers, vacuum tubes, they were replaced by what? Transistors. Earlier in the first generation computers, we used vacuum tubes, and now in this generation we use transistors. They required only 1/2, or we can say 1/10 of power required by tubes. This generation computers generated less heat, they were more reliable, and examples are IBM 1620, IBM 7064. In second generation computers, we basically used magnetic tapes and magnetic disk. Magnetic disks were used as secondary storage devices. In this generation, assembly language and high-level programming language like Fortran, COBOL, they were used earlier. Nowadays, which languages are used? We are using Python, which is a 4th generation programming language. The computers used batch processing and multi-programming operating system. So we will study about operating systems also and how the computing in computers are done. So in the third generation computers, that is from 1964 to 1971, these computers replaced transistors with integrated circuit known as chip, and they were very small scale integrated circuits which had 10 transistors per chip. These computers were smaller, faster, and much more reliable, and high-level languages invented in this generation. IC, which is known as integrated circuit, was invented by Jack Kilby, and basically high level languages like Fortran 2nd to 4, COBOL, Pascal, all these languages were used in this generation computers. Examples are IBM 360. Now in the 4th generation computers, these computers range from 1972 to 1980. LSI and VLSI were used in this generation. As a result, microprocessor came into existence. the computers use this technology known to be microcomputer, high capacity hard disks were invented. There is a great development in data communication because we all know that data is a very important part, and from data we can get information, and through information we can take decisions. Fourth generation computers became more powerful, compact, reliable, affordable. As a result, it gave rise to personal computers, or we can say PC. Nowadays, we are using PC. In this generation, time sharing, real time networks, distributed operating system were used. Examples are C, C++ languages. Fifth generation languages, these are from 1980 to present and beyond. Fifth generation computing devices based on artificial intelligence are still in development. Though there are some applications such as voice recognition, अभी हमने we must have seen as in Google that बोलने से सब होता है. That is, we can say, and then the voice recognition can recognize our voice, and we can search for whatever thing we want on the internet that are being used today. The use of parallel processing and superconductors is helping to make artificial intelligence a reality. Quantum computation and molecular and nanotechnology will radically change the face of computers in years to come. Some computer types of this generation are desktop, laptop, notebook and ultrabook. So we are using all these things. Components of a computer system. In this we have input. CPU consists of CU and ALU. What is CU? CU is control unit. ALU is arithmetic and logical unit. We have CPU consists of CU and ALU. Now what does CU do? CU is a control unit. Basically what it does, all the program which we want to process are stored in the memory, and then line by line each and every instruction of the program is taken up by the control unit, and it processes it and it converts it into machine language. And whenever it needs to do some mathematical operations like plus, minus, multiply, divide, in that case it takes the help of the arithmetic and logical unit, and it is also known as ALU. Input devices. Through input devices we get the input, and through output devices we display our output. And processing, and the brain of the computer is the CPU, which consists of CU and ALU. We have main memory or primary memory like we have RAM, and we have secondary memory like we have hard disk. So this is the components of a computer system. So let's describe about all the parts as included in our diagram one by one. The CPU, it is the brain of the computer system, like I said earlier. It consists of major computations and comparisons are made inside the CPU, and it is also responsible for activation and controlling the operation of other units. So it consists of ALU and CU. ALU means arithmetic and logical unit. CU means control unit. So ALU performs all the operations like plus, minus, multiply, divide, greater than, less than, equal to, all these operations, and control unit takes the control of the entire operation of the computer, and it also controls all devices such as memory, input output devices connected to the CPU. It performs the task and sends suitable control signals to the other components to perform for the necessary steps to execute the instruction. Input output unit. The input output unit consists of devices which are used to transmit information between the external world and the computer memory. The information fed through the input unit is stored in the computer's memory for processing, and the final results stored in the memory can be recorded or displayed on the output medium. So it is about input and output system. Like we have keyboard. Through keyboard we get input, through scanner we get input, through printer we get output, through plotter we get output. Memory unit, we all know that memory is very important part of a computer system, and it is an essential component of a digital computer, and they are available for processing. The memory unit is used to hold the instructions to be executed and data to be processed. Now primary and secondary memory. Primary memory has direct link with the input unit and output unit. It stores the input data, intermediate calculation and result. Secondary memory, basically primary memory is not able to store the data permanently for future use. So some other types of storage technology is required to store the data permanently for long time. It is called secondary or auxiliary memory. Now, as we can see, there are various types of input devices. Like these devices you must have seen in real life. So these are like keyboard, mouse, touch screen, bar code reader है, scanner है, MICR, micer, OMR, etc. Like the OMR sheet, like we must have give like as a student you must have given few exams on OMR sheet, like we have to take from ABCD and we get an OMR sheet, and these OMR sheets are corrected in OMR. And we must have seen barcode reader, micer reader in various malls. So this is a keyboard, and we must have seen keyboard that it have numeric keys, it have function keys, control keys, alt keys, enter key, arrow key. And this is mouse. We have wired mouse also. Nowadays we are using wireless mouse. We have mechanical mouse. So these are optical mouse we are using. And mouse is basically an input device. Now scanner, like the diagram, like in the picture given on the right hand side is shown that we have a scanner and it scans our documents. Joystick is an input device and it have a stick. It pivots on a base and reports its angle or direction to the device it's controlling. So joysticks are often they are used to control video games and usually have one or more push buttons, whole state channels to be read by the computer. Output devices are those devices like we have printer, plotter and projector, and they are used to give output. And then we have printer, and this is dot matrix printer for printing. Then we have inkjet and laserjet. Inkjet and laserjet, which one is better? Like laserjet, in this laser technology is used to print documents and it produces high quality printing at a very high speed. Now we have monitor. This is LED, LCD, cathode ray tube, liquid crystal display. Nowadays which we are using light emitting diode, LEDs we are using, which are known as light emitting diodes. Now these are the various memory units, like 1 bit equal to 0 or 1, 1 byte equal to 8 bits, 1 nibble is equal to 4 bits, 1 kilobyte equal to 1024 byte, 1 megabyte equal to 1024 kilobyte. So they are all as the multiples of 1024. So 1 yottabyte is equal to 1024 zettabyte. Basically we are using now practically terabyte. We are practically using terabyte as a storage, as a memory unit. Now we have primary memory. Primary memory may we have RAM and ROM. RAM is a random access memory, ROM is read-only memory, and as we know that RAM is a volatile memory and ROM is a permanent memory. And in RAM we can read and write memory it is, and ROM is non-volatile, that is contents are not erased when the power is switched off, read-only memory. Now we have secondary memory. In the secondary memory we have hard drive, we have zip drive, we have floppy drive like CD drive, and data deletion and its recovery security concern. So examples of reasons for deleting the data. Why we have to delete the data? Because there is so much data, so we want to free the disk space, we want to remove duplicate or unnecessary data to avoid confusion, we want to make sensitive information unavailable to others, we want to remove an operating system or blanking a hard disk. Data recovery. What is data recovery? It means recovering the data. So the most common data recovery scenario involves an operating system failure, like sometimes our operating system fails, malfunctioning of a storage device, logical failure of storage devices, we have accidental damage, we have deletion, or in which case the ultimate goal. What is the ultimate goal in all these cases? It's to simply copy all the important files from the damaged media to another new drive. This is data recovery. Now we come into computer security. As the name suggests, it means to secure the computer. So it includes controlling physical access to the hardware as well as protecting against harm that may cause via network access, data and code injection, and due to malpractice by operators. whether intentional, accidental, or due to them being tricked into deviating from secure procedures. Now, what are the concerns of computer security? So, we have various computer security threats like confidentiality, like only authorized user can access the data sources and information. Integrity means only unauthorized users, only authorized user. Authorized means जिनका हक है, which are authorized. They should be able to modify the data when needed. Availability means data should be available to users when needed. Authentication means are you really communicating with whom you think you are communicating with? So authentication करना, authenticate करना. Software and its type. Software simply are the computer program, like the instructions given to the computer in the form of the program is called software. Software is basically, what is it? It's a set of programs which are used for different purposes. All the programs used in the computer are used to perform specific tasks, and this is known as software. Now the various types of softwares, like we have hardware. Hardware में क्या आता है? CPU, monitor, disk, printer, etc. And the system software में we have operating systems and utilities. Application softwares में we have computer games, spreadsheet, word processors, databases, internet browsers. So these are the types of software. Now in the system software, it is a collection of programs designed to operate, control and extend the processing capabilities of the computer itself. These software products comprise of programs written in low level languages which interact with the hardware at a very basic level. System software serves as the interface between the hardware and the end user. Some examples of system softwares are operating system, compilers, interpreters and assemblers, etc. Now operating system, we all must be working on operating system, like we have nowadays. Which Windows we are using? We are using Windows 10. So operating system is the most important program which runs on the computer. Basically, what is it? What is an operating system? It is an interface between the computer and the user, and it is responsible for the management and coordination of activities and sharing of resources of the computer. Operating system architecture, we have user, we have application, we have operating system, we have hardware. This is the operating system architecture. And what are the functions of operating system? Like we have so many functions of operating system, and this we will study in detail later on, like process management, memory management, file management, device management, security, job accounting, secondary storage management, process management, networking, coordination between other softwares and the users. Now we have various types of operating systems, like we have single user, multi-user. Single user means only we have single user. Multiple user means we have multi-user. Multitasking means it is able to perform multiple tasks. Multiprocessing means it have multiple processors. Embedded, and we have real time. So single user means the operating system is designed to manage the computer so that one user can effectively do one thing at a time. Multiple user means multiple users that are on different computers to access the single system's OS resources simultaneously. Multitasking में क्या होता है? It allows a user to perform more than one computer task. Multiprocessing, it is used to refer to the execution of multiple concurrent processes in a system. A program in execution is called a process. कि जो भी program execution में होता है, it is called a process. Embedded, basically it is an embedded systems operating system. Embedded systems are a specially designed computer system that essentially contains software and hardware for performing specific tasks. Mobile phones, laptops, cameras, washing machines, ATMs and hair straightener example, etc. are examples of embedded operating system. Like we have hair straighteners, we must be using washing machines, we must be having cameras, laptops, and they are example of embedded operating system. Real-time operating system, it is used to control the machinery, like we have industrial system को control करने के लिए, scientific instruments, tasks, where time deadline. Real time means there are certain deadlines that we have to complete this task in a month, or we have to complete it in a day. So it may be forced to execute a task. Now we have language processors. We generally write a computer program using a high level language. A high level language is one that is understandable by us, like humans. This is called source code. However, a computer does not understand high level language. It only understands the program written in 0 and 1, which is in binary, called the machine code. to convert source code into machine code, we use either a compiler or an interpreter. Compiler, interpreter are also known as language processor. So these are language processors like compilers and interpreter, which basically converts the high level language into machine code. And what is the difference between compiler and interpreter? Like the compiler translates the program in one statement at a time, and compiler converts it into in one go. Interpreter takes less amount of time to analyze the source code, but the overall execution time is lower. And in compiler, it takes large amount of time to analyze the source code, but the overall execution time is comparatively faster. In the interpreter, no intermediate object code is generated, hence are memory efficient, and compiler generates intermediate object code which further requires linking, hence requires more memory. In interpreter, continues translating the program until the first error is met, in which case it stops since debugging is easy, while in case of compiler, it generates the error message only after scanning the whole program, hence debugging it's comparatively hard. Programming languages like Python, Ruby use interpreters, and programming languages like C, C++ use compilers. Application software. Now this topic is like application software. They are designed to satisfy a particular need of a particular environment. All software prepared in the computer lab may come under the category of application softwares. Like in class 12, all the students are required to prepare a project, and these projects can be on any topic like payroll, student record software, inventory management software, income tax software, railway reservation software, Microsoft Office suite software, etc. Now, what are utility software? Utility software is designed to aid in analyzing, optimizing, configuring, and maintaining a computer system. It supports the computer infrastructure. This software focuses on how an operating system, and then accordingly it decides its trajectory to smoothen the functioning of the system. Softwares like antivirus hai, disk cleanup, management tools hai, compression tools hai, defragmenters hai, etc. They are all utility tools, and some examples of utility tools are, we have K7, we have WinRAR, and we have WinZip. So this was all. Thank you so much.